Welcome back to another episode of Work in Progress. Today I am meeting with UPIC student Gianna Truisi to discuss her experiences in the UPIC on-campus internship program. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And if you could do me a quick favor, can you introduce yourself to everyone for me?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. My name is Gianna Truisi, and I am currently the Marketing and Programming Intern for Clemson UPIC. Basically, what I do is I run all of our social medias for the UPIC program. I also create a monthly newsletter that gets sent out to all of the UPIC mentors and the interns that kind of just keeps them up to date on things that are happening, deadlines, cool things to get involved with, things like that. But my main position is mostly kind of just like outreach, not only to getting our information that needs to be delivered to the UPIC interns, but also just kind of getting the UPIC program's name out on campus and kind of getting potential candidates who might want to apply to the job, understand what it is, kind of get a little bit more information that's not just kind of like reading from a website, that might be a little bit more interactive through social medias and things like that. Also just programming events that kind of bring the interns together, fun things to get everyone involved, and yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
So how did you find your UPIC position and what was the application process like?
Yeah, so I actually had kind of a weird way of finding out what UPIC was and this position. So one of my best friends and roommate from last year, she held this position before me.
Oh, cool.
I had no idea what UPIC was. All I knew was that she absolutely adored it, talked so highly of it, and I would see kind of her passion for it. She would get to work at home a little bit, some hybrid, and she would also go into the office. Just the way that she spoke kind of about her mentor and like her coworkers was only positive things, so it kind of made me want to do it. So she recommended that I would do it because I had already done so much social media and marketing stuff like that as VP of marketing for my sorority. So this kind of correlated right into it. I'm a finance major, so marketing and finance don't necessarily correlate, but it's always been like a passion and a hobby of mine. So getting able to do this kind of fulfilled it once my term was over. So then I remember she was kind of walking me through it, and it was very similar to applying to like a job on LinkedIn, except through Clemson Job Link. I remember just reading the job description and being like, wow, this is something that I really am interested in. And also getting to see it like firsthand, her experience, it definitely helped a lot. So I adjusted my resume. I made sure it was all updated, really read that job description, took my time on that cover letter to make sure, because I know these positions were competitive. It's a great program. It makes it so nice with flexibility of hours and understanding mostly that you're a student also.
Yes.
So kind of that's how I stumbled across it. And then after that, I submitted it all, had my interview scheduled, hit it off with my mentor, Caitlin. She was great. She kind of explained to me what they were looking for, and it aligned very much with something that I wanted to do. And here I am.
So can you tell me a little bit about the INT course that you take as an UPIC intern?
Yeah, of course. So basically what the INT courses are is depending on what rotation intern you are, meaning it's your first time as a UPIC intern, second time, and so on, you take a different level INT course. But what it is it's just like an asynchronous course. You kind of complete it at your own speed, of course, meeting the deadlines that you're given. And depending on which class you're in, you'll have different assignments. So if you're in the first one, I remember one of them is a site visit where you do learn a good amount about the UPIC program. You meet with a site coordinator and your mentor, and you kind of just reflect on like what you've learned, things you think you can improve on, stuff like that. I'm a second rotation intern, so one of the assignments that I have this semester is 1 to 2 page paper on like ethics, stuff like that, and it has to do with AI, I believe, as well. And then you could also choose to do a resume review, which I think is great that they're willing to help us with something that's not only applicable to UPIC, but it will help me like post-grad, job hunting, things like that, because now I've just had another set of eyes looking at my resume. But it's not like another 3 credit hour class where you're like having to worry like, oh my gosh, can I fit this in my schedule? It's just kind of go at your own flow, meeting the deadlines, of course, and just like keeping you on track with professional development and helping you realize like what are you actually gaining through this internship, and kind of more reflection based, I'd say.
So how has your UPIC experience helped you enter the job market?
Ooh, good question. I think the biggest skill that I've gained from my UPIC experience is definitely time management. I was always so scared like I wouldn't be able to balance schoolwork and a job. So this is like kind of the first time that I've really done it in my college career, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing it sooner just because UPIC is so good at understanding we're students first and like it works around your class schedule. But at the same time, you do have obligations and duties that you have to fulfill. You have to work a good amount of hours per week, and I think that it very helps with like self-discipline and kind of keeping yourself on track, not only with your job hours but also with your school hours, because you want to balance it all and still have a good work-life balance, I guess you could say. So it's definitely been really helpful with my time management skills. I think the other biggest thing is definitely communication. As a college student, a lot of the interactions you have are just kind of with your classmates, so it's very much helped me bring it more into a professional environment, whether it be like little things like writing emails, things like that, kind of how to carry yourself, even just like super business casual dressings, thing like that. So you build a good network with like your supervisors, people above you, but also kind of with like the people your own age who are holding UPIC positions. So it's definitely a great way to grow your network, I guess, in that sense. That's coming from like a business kid, so it's it's engraved into our brains. I think it was definitely the most helpful in those. But also it was like kind of really good interview practice, because you have that be, if it's your first time applying for a job, you kind of have it as your first run before you go and enter the job market. So I'm very confident with that. And also just the things that I've learned and done and accomplished in this position are great talking points for future interviews and stuff like that, and to add to your resume, but also just building you up as a person, I guess.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Well, those are all of my questions. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Great, of course. Thanks for having me. I love working with the CCPD.
Oh my gosh, of course. It's so fun.